order. First of all, can we get confirmation of a quorum?
Yes, we can. Under the bylaws, we have a quorum.
Great. Next up, any public comments?
No public comment.
No? Okay, so moving on, we will go to the consideration and possible action on approval of the December 1st, 2025 board meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Aye. Motion passes. Item number 2, the general manager's report.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Marilyn Gilbert on the General Manager Report. You'll have staff members in present who's going to be starting first. They're going to be starting with Jacob Galvan on the operational report, followed by Mr. Santillan on the financials.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jacob Galvan, and I'll be presenting the production distribution report for the month ended November 30th, 2025. On page 2 of your board binders, we'll start with South Coast Regional Water Authority production and distribution report for the month ended November 2025. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead, right? Should be the allocation. Yeah, so we have the SRWA water distribution summary and true-up estimate. On column C, we have the SRWA total distribution. The year-to-date was 430.34 million gallons for a daily average of 7.055 million gallons. On column F, we have the distribution for BPUB. The year-to-date was 406.396 million gallons for a daily average of 6.62 million gallons. On column G, we have the distribution for value mine number 2. The year-to-date was 10.781 million gallons for a daily average of 0.177 million gallons. On column H, we have the distribution for Los Fresnos. The year-to-date was 3.265 million gallons for a daily average of 0.054 million gallons. On column I, we have the credit for B&D. The year-to-date was 9.037 million gallons for a daily average of 0.148 million gallons. On column J, we have the allocation for Indian Lake. The year-to-date was 0.861 million gallons for a daily average of 0.014 million gallons. Below, we have the true-up estimate where BPUB was over by 6.57 million gallons. Value mine number 2 was under by 0.02 million gallons. And the city of Los Fresnos was under by 6.55 million gallons. On the next page, we have the production distribution report for the month of November. On the third column from the left, we have the SRWA total water produced. The total was 215.415 million gallons for a daily average of 7.18 million gallons. The last column on the right, on the far right, was total water distributed. The total was 214.472 million gallons for a daily average of 7.149 million gallons. Below, we have the chemical consumption costs for the month. The total was $109,396.10. And below that, we have the electrical consumption costs. For the total was $105,371.81. On the next page, we have events that reduced water production, and there were no events, no shutdowns. On this page, we have the iron, manganese, and arsenic results. There were no chemical dosage changes, and all the parameters were within the MCLs. On the next page, we have the ROs and well pumps that were on at the time of the collection, sample collection. Here we have a graph of the manganese levels at a 0% blend. On the next page, we have a graph of the arsenic levels at a 0.3, a dosage of 0.3 chlorine dioxide and 1.0 of ferric. page, we have a graph comparing the water production and distribution for the fiscal year 25 and 26. And then on the last, this page, we have the water plant production for the three water plants, Brownsville's three water plants, where SRWA contributed with 31.83% of Brownsville's water demand. That concludes my report. If you don't have any further questions or comments?
So, you know, it is problematic that our distribution is higher now that we are removing the bypass, because it's just so much more stress on our machine. But if you had the chance to look at what I sent Friday, we can bring back the bypass, and just by intelligently choosing what pumps we take our water from, and still get a really low manganese level.
We discussed that this morning. I think we're gonna look at that.
Okay.
As a potential solution.
And
Eliminate the source, eliminate the
Exactly.
output. But I think there's some issues about rotating wells that we wanted to look at.
Okay, and I can be present if you guys have a meeting and want to yell at me about anything for that one.
Yeah.
Like the next 2 weeks, I'm relatively okay. But yeah, I didn't send along the report to everybody, but I figured it's a good start. And the good news is we know the output of our wells, at least for them, 4% or so,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive. So yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager, and I will go over the authority's financial performance as of November 30, 2025. And we're going to be looking at the last column, beginning with operating revenues from member assessments, 1,298,561. From this amount, we minus line number 10, total operating expenses of 1,062,058, and results in an operating income of 236,503. For here, we add the line number 18, net non-operating revenues of 30,683. This results in the line number 18 of, I'm sorry, 19, income before capital contributions of 267,186. That's the same amount the change in net position, since there were no capital contributions. We add this amount at 267,186 to the net position at the beginning of the year, and results in a net position at the end of November 2025 of 27,155,921. And these last two pages, this is a budget and actual summary of the O&M expenses by type and by account. And this concludes the presentation. Any questions? Thank you.
President, members of the board, my name is Jaime Estrada. I'm the Director of Water Wastewater Operations. Just going to give you a quick update on the discolored water calls. Before we get to the numbers, just want to go over some common causes for discolored water. This usually comes from iron in source water or manganese in source water. That's basically mainly tied into SRWA. That's what we find in our well water system. Also disturbed main sediment, aging utility pipe corrosion. Just for your information, BPUB has 203 miles worth of AC pipeline in our system. It dates back to 1948, 50, 60, so it's old valves, things of that nature. So whenever you do mess with the system or you water the valves, it also loosens up sediment and things of that nature, which causes discolored water. Also internal plumbing corrosion or water heater sediment. I started work here at PUB in 1999. In the beginning of my career, I attended to a bunch of colored water calls and some complaints about their water system being tied into our sewer mains because of the smell. It had a foul odor. When I went out there and talked to those customers, 60% of the time it was due to their water heaters or something in their system. So the discolored water calls has been around even before SRWA came into play. And now that started coming in, we got the issues we're looking at, the manganese and iron and things of that nature. Other thing is biofilm, copper corrosion, also air in the water. In the air, the water, that's a milky color in the water. It's like white. Actually, we had that issue at the annex building when it was first built. We're having the milky water color coming out of the faucets. That's due to air entrained in the system. Our system was fine, but there was still air inside the system for the annex building. That's what you see in the system whenever we do a tie-in, things of that nature. You'll get some water that some air that stays in the system, and it'll create that milky color water. But if you pour it into a glass and let it sit, it'll clear out in time. All the air will filter out. Most of these are the responsibility of the utility, with the exception of the internal plumbing or water heater sediment. And they're usually addressed by flushing, or we go back to look at our treatment process. So before I go to the number of calls, do you have any questions on?
First of all, the air and water, there's some really interesting optical physics behind that, but it kind of gives you an idea of how big those bubbles are, which, anyways, just kind of fun to hear. No, actually, ready to go on to that.
Thank you. Here's a distribution of the calls we've had throughout the year. We've already talked about it in July, and we talked about those issues. Back in August, when we stopped the blending, September we had like 5 calls. October we had 24 calls. Those calls were due to, we have a valve replacement contract working out in the system. During that time in October, he broke a line which disturbed the waters, caused movement inside the system. And it actually 20 of those calls came in on that one day. So we had the other 4 calls that came in throughout the month. Then in November, we had 13 calls come in. Here's the heat map. I need to work on the heat map, because in this particular case, in October, we had 24 calls total. So if you look at the heat map, it's kind of distributed a whole bunch all over the place. Most of the calls came in from the western part of the city. So I need to go back and take a look, see what's going on. Maybe we're picking up something else that shouldn't be on there, but the color, it should be less colors.
It would be interesting, and I don't know how hard this is, but to get kind of distance, pipe travel distance from the plant, only because, one of the thoughts is that this manganese settles out of the water. Once we treat the water here, it takes a certain amount of time for the manganese to settle out, and so kind of getting an idea of how far it is settling out from the plant might be a useful piece of information.
So I'm talking to the lab, we need to get a better analysis on that. I don't know we asked for that. I just think that some of the calls we're getting is part of it's sediment from manganese, but part of it's just because of the aging system. So we need to get a handle on it so we can make sure exactly where it's coming from. But I think the ones that are closer to us, I think it is the manganese coming out of SRWA. So if you look at the ones closer to the north part of the system.
I mean, absolutely, and then we can even draw a line and say, okay, here is where we have infrastructure issues, here's where we have other issues, like our plant.
Yeah, I'm sure, because we do have a consultant that's working on our water model, so I'm sure to get that up and running so we can see when we close valves, it'll give you a better indication of how that flow is going.
Who's doing that? Is it at?
It's through
Nichols.
Prison Nichols.
Okay, great. Love to hear more about that.
And here's the November heat map. So that was 11 calls. 13 calls. They usually get 13 and 11. Sometimes the staff will combine calls. So that's why you have 24 and 23 in the other one. They'll combine calls into one call and close it out. But 23 came in, but it was actually 11 closed because they were combined. But if you notice, it's only 11 calls, but you see a lot of areas in the city that we get those calls. But it wasn't, I got to go back and see exactly where these 11 came from. Most of the time, since we got the contractor doing the valve and hydrant, well, actually the valve replacement, I think that's causing some of that. Some of the water breaks that we've been having with BTX, and we go in there and we do those repairs. It causes these type of calls. We're going to have the same thing happening because we do have the second phase of the valve replacement project coming up. So,
do we have any way to mix that data with this? So, basically, it'd be nice to be like,
sure,
hey, within 24 hours of the valve replacement or something, just so we can kind of create a more controlled analysis.
Sure, definitely. And just like this one here, the 20 calls of these 24 were related to that one break, and that's only one part. But yeah, we'll put that together. That's basically it. If y'all have any other questions for me.
Any questions? Okay, now I asked all mine while you're talking. Thank you.
Sure.
Aye.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jaime Flores. I'm here to give a drought update. U.S. combined ownership at Hamilton and Falcon reservoirs January 3rd, 2026 is 27.4%. As you can see, the previous 3 weeks, 26.4% December 13th, 2025, 26.3% December 20th, 2025, and 27.2% December 27th, 2025. So a slight increase, slowly over the time. National Weather Service January to March 2026 outlook for the Lower Grand Valley Deep South Texas region. A warmer and drier than normal outlook is anticipated for the January-March 2026 period. Expect for cool and cold fronts and dry air intrusions to become more pronounced and frequent through February. Falcon International Reservoir remain near historic lows at the end of December. Confidence remains high, near approximately 100% of total reservoir storage remaining just above record lows through March. Any questions?
So we've had an influx of water in our storage. Yeah, we were down at like 25.5 or something, and it's come up now to 27, above 27. Do we know how much of that was due to rain, or if any of that was due to Mexico releasing its water?
It's mainly just transfers from Mexico.
Okay, that was mainly
Very,
rain.
very little rain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, on to the next item. Oh, the consideration and possible action to rehabilitate 6 wells using the aqua-free carbon dioxide injection method and install AquaGuard preventative maintenance systems to wells 1, 13, and 16.
Mr. President, members of the board, my name is Jose Armando Garza. I'm the water treatment manager. The Southern Regional Water Authority operates a series of wells that serve as critical infrastructure for potable water production in the region. Over time, these wells have experienced a decline in performance, reduced water yield, and pumping efficiencies due to mineral scaling, biological fouling, and sediment buildup. In 2025, SRWA rehabilitated 3 wells, wells 1, 13, and 16, using the aqua-free carbon dioxide injection method. This method of injecting carbon dioxide to rehabilitate the wells resulted in a specific capacity increase from 2 to 39%. R.W. Harding and Associates and SRWA are proposing to rehabilitate 6 more wells using the aqua-free carbon injection method at a cost of $841,320, and to furnish and install AquaGuard preventive maintenance system in previously rehabilitated wells, wells 1, 3, and 16, for an additional $94,575. These services are provided by Subsurface Technologies of Rock Tavern, New York, which has the proprietary rights to utilize the aqua-free carbon injection method and the AquaGuard preventive maintenance system. Supporting attachments are the sole source letter and the proposal to perform the service, including the use of a subcontractor for ancillary services, Du Bois Well Services, for a grand total amount of $935,895.
So, I mean, we know the aqua-free, which is a horrible name, I think, but worked really well. Do we have any more information about what AquaGuard really does?
AquaGuard is basically inserting a line, a pre-installed line in the wells that were rehabilitated last year, the 3 of them, that in the future we can just contract the contractor, and they just come, hook up their trailer, and do the injection without the need of taking the wells out and the piping and all of that stuff.
Okay, so this is really just an attachment for future.
For future, just to make it easier for next time.
Okay.
Less destruction to clean the well nicely.
Perfect. And how much was that?
The AquaGuard was, it was for the preventive maintenance, it's $94,575.
And just curious, is it at all cheaper when we do the next 6 wells, if they're installing that real time while they're doing it? Okay.
I think that's a recommendation.
Okay, so we should, okay. Is that part of the 6 well rehabilitation?
No, we're gonna do the preventive maintenance to the three wells that we did last year. And then, this year we're gonna rehabilitate 6 more.
Okay, got it.
Read the recommendation.
Yeah, we will add the other,
As we're doing,
as we're doing.
good, that's what I wanted to check, okay.
Oh, just to clarify, yes, that was my question. So we're doing, to the 3 that we did last year, we're doing the preventive, right? And then to this new ones, we're doing both, the
We'll set it up and then
preventive,
we'll set
the
it up.
line and
Yeah, we'll set it up next year for the,
for the other ones.
yeah, for the 6 we're doing this year, we'll set it up for the Aqua Guard for next year. So they come back and do the preventive.
So they're gonna do the initial blast that was super concentrated carbon dioxide or high pressure carbon dioxide this year. I think.
SRWA, staff recommends board approval to authorize the general manager of VPUB to negotiate and execute on SRWA's behalf a contract for the rehabilitation of 6 SRWA wells using the carbon dioxide injection method for $841,320, and to furnish and install the Aqua Guard preventive maintenance system for the 3 previously rehabilitated wells for $94,575, for a total of $935,895.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. I always feel like I just can't give motions, but I guess I can also make a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are going to move on to recess to close. And this will be a presentation and discussion to address an unsolicited offer by Military Highway Water Supply Corporation, purchase an easement for water supply purposes on SRWA property, Cameron County Property ID 140395, used for a well site, SEC 551.071. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to go close. All in favor, say
Aye.
The time is 12:23.
aye.
Test.
Well, it is 12:39 and we are done with closed. Moving on to consideration of possible action items discussed in closed meeting. Nothing was, no actions were taken, so we can move on. And before we go to the next subject, I believe there is a significant announcement to be made.
Yes, so sad for us, maybe happy for other folks. After 24 years of great service, one of our coworkers has decided to retire.
Yep, hang up the hat.
Judy?
Yeah, it's been great being on at PUB, of course, serving for SRWA for the last 20 years. Garza and I have worked side by side, so I leave it in great hands. So we have a great team here, and I appreciate all the support that you've given me over the years. Engineering and finance, everybody. Melly, thank you. So appreciate it. This is my last meeting, so I wish you the best. Yeah.
Congratulations. I don't know how anybody can retire at 29 years old, but I guess it happens. Okay, next we'll do discussion on the date, time of the next board meeting. And Marilyn, I don't know if you're there. If not, I guess we normally do the first month of, or first Monday of the month. If that works.
February 5th.
Second.
February 2nd. February 2nd. Well, Miss Sarah's cake, that's my birthday.
Oh.
There will be cake, for sure.
Free lunch.
Free lunch, for sure.
So happy early birthday. And,
Thank you.
can't wait to spend it with you in a month.
Very good.
And are there any other action items or items that we should add on the next agenda? Any requests?
No action items that I'm aware of, but I just wanted to say on the calendar, my apologies for my audio. I want to say, Judy, you're always welcome to come join our meetings and come visit us. You know when we meet, where we'll be.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn.
And on that note, I guess I will move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.